Americans, and the Massachusetts liaison to the United Confederation of Taino People. She's been a public school teacher for 30 years.
Taiguei tunu kena atiaono. Yurumein Arawak, daka, Claudia Fox Tree. I introduce myself in my indigenous language. All of the indigenous people of North and South America now speak a colonizer's language. Spanish, French, British, English, and Portuguese. So when I say something in my language, my original language, my ancestors can hear me and know that I've survived. I've been really fortunate to come here for a few years, and every time I hear people's stories, I'm again reminded how as a human species, we seem to constantly have no empathy and to hurt each other. And it's difficult to hear over and over again. And I'm going to tell about a story that started over 500 years ago and is still going on today. My introduction included the name of the Caribbean island that my ancestors were last associated with. That name comes from a colonizer's name. For us, it's Yurumein, and for other people, it's Saint Vincent. So when Columbus arrived, he first thought that the people he greeted were kind. But within a few hours, he said, they're good to be ordered about, to be made to work, plant, and do whatever is wanted, to build towns, to be taught to go clothed, and to accept our customs. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we wanted. In 1493, on his second voyage, he came with 1,500 men, women, and children. He ordered 1,500 men, women, and children from the nations on the islands, letting 500 go and condemning 600 to be enslaved by Spanish men remaining on the island. He ordered another 500 to be sent to Spain, where 200 died on voyage and were thrown by the Spanish into the Atlantic. He enslaved 5,000 indigenous people during his career, more than any other individual in history ever. As soon as the 1493 expedition got to the Caribbean, before he even reached Haiti, Columbus was rewarding his lieutenants with indigenous women and children to rape. As Columbus himself wrote in 1500, girls from 9 to 10 are in demand. Between 1970 and 1976, the Indian Health Service sterilized between 25% and 50% of Native American women. By 1968, 35% of Puerto Rican women were sterilized. In 1976, the government admitted it forcibly sterilized 3,406 women without their permission. 36 women were under the age of 21, despite court-ordered moratorium on sterilizations of women younger than that age. Currently, indigenous women are raped, murdered, and disappearing at alarming rates. A recent federal study reported that Native American women face murder rates of over 10 times the national average and are raped at 2.5 times the average. In August of 2018, Tamara Bear comes out, went downtown to Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office to file a missing person report. It would be one of the nearly 300 cases of missing American Indian women and girls reported to law enforcement agencies in Montana that year, which is just last year. American Indians make up 6.7% of Montana's population, according to the U.S. Census, but they accounted for 26% of missing persons reported from 2016 to 2018. Nearly 2/3 of those cases involved women or girls. Say her name. Witness the names Mary Ann Costin Mewarash and Shakaya Harding. I wear red to honor the missing and murdered indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit as part of a Red Dress project. May 5th is another day that you can all wear red to honor this project. With the new Congress in D.C., we now have a bill introduced in April and referred to committee called Studying the Missing and Murdered Indian Crisis Act of 2019. Here in Massachusetts, we have 5 bills currently before the Massachusetts State Legislature. These are bills that affect all of us. These aren't the kind of bills like tribes looking for land or getting their recognition. The first one is banning racist mascots and not using them for high schools and other kinds of events. The second is changing the state flag and seal, which have a arm with a knife over a Native American on a white background with the blue around the Native person. If you think of that arm being a tomahawk and that image being a pilgrim, I think you'll see that there might be a problem with the message that it portrays. The third is making Indigenous Peoples Day a national holiday, and that means eradicating Columbus Day. The fourth is supporting Indigenous education, and the fifth is protecting Native cultural items. That means returning bones and artifacts from museums. When you include direct and indirect effects of disease, wars, enslavement, removals, relocations, changes in society, culture, and subsistence patterns which accompanied European colonization, First Nations experienced genocide of apocalyptic proportions. From 100% population, we've been reduced to 95% in that first initial time period, and now that our U.S. Census says that Native people identify as 3% of the population. When I was thinking of the words to close today, I thought of my daughter who recently posted some really appropriate language. Our very presence and existence is an act of resistance and intervention. Find your people and build that community. It's what lifts us up and carries us through. Thank you.
Friends, join me in a minute of silence, and then follow me and the banner as we walk through the memorial, and then a short walk over to the Taiguei.